Hi everyone, Tanya here. Welcome to my channel. I'm so excited for today's video, and it is my latest book haul. I hope to do more of these videos on my channel, so if you guys enjoy this kind of content, definitely subscribe to follow along with my future videos. But let's get into it. So I have not done, I haven't really bought a lot of books for a while. I've done like library checkout stuff I've been doing, but I just have been getting more into reading finally. I feel like I've been getting a little bit more time. If you don't know, I have 3 kids, and so sometimes it's hard to find time to read, but I've really gotten into it lately, so I thought I would share with you what I got recently. All of them except for one set were all thrifted, so from Half Price Books or the local thrift store, and then I will share one that was like a Kindle Unlimited or whatever purchase or kind of situation. So let's get into it, and I'll share with you guys my latest purchases for books. So let's get started with a thing that I got on Amazon, and this was like a whole story to it. It took me forever to get these because so it is the selection series, and maybe I'm late to the game, but I don't know. Like I said, I've just finally been getting more time to read. And so the way I got into this is the selection they had on Kindle or Prime Unlimited or whatever it was. I can't remember which one. So I read through that, I think in a couple days, and I really liked it. And of course I wanted to read the others, and they did not have them on Kindle Unlimited because they want you to buy them. But I found from another seller on Amazon the whole set for about $25, which is not bad for the entire set. And so I was like, yes, I'm gonna get it. And it took like 3 weeks to get it, and long story short, then they were like, oh, it's lost. So I waited like another week, and then they're like, yeah, no, it's lost, so contact the seller. So I contacted them, and they're like, okay, well, and so thankfully they did finally get to me. I finally got them yesterday. They came to me, and I've already started reading the second one, but now I have the whole series. It does come in like the little case box thing, so I'm really excited. And again, it was a really great price for all of these two. I think, like I said, I think it was like $20 or $25 for all of them, which is not bad. So I'm really excited to read. Like I said, I've read the first one, but I'm excited to read the other ones as well. I don't know, I like them, and I like that they're kind of like futuristic, like dystopian sort of kind of situation. I kind of like that genre of books. And if you don't know, because I said, I haven't done too many book videos on my channel, but my go-to genre is typically historical fiction, especially World War II, but anything really historical fiction. So some of these things you'll be like, what? It's pretty wild for me. But we're branching out into the world of reading. So yeah, so this is the first thing that I got. Alright, and then the next book, which I will just share a picture of it. This is kind of what started my jump back into reading lately, and especially into the genre of more fantasy, because I have never really been a fantasy person. I don't know, like, again, usually my go-to is historical fiction, but it is called The First Girl Child. Try to show a picture of it, and I got it. I was reading it with the Kindle Unlimited subscription or membership, and you guys, I just really love that book. I don't know what it is. I think it was the combination of the characters. You know, like when you have a book and then you read it and then you just keep thinking about it and you're like, oh, I wish I could reread it. And like, you know, erase it from my mind and reread it again. Like, that is that book. I don't know why. I think, again, it's just the characters. There's something about it that I really, really liked, because it was a fantasy book, but it wasn't, I don't know, I just really, really, really liked it. And if you have not read it, I definitely recommend it. I think there's a second book in the series, but it is not out until I think June or July, so I am waiting. But I really liked it. I felt like it was the perfect amount of fantasy for me, where it wasn't so over the top, where I was kind of like, eh. But the story, the characters, it was just really good, and it had kind of like a historical vibe to it, because it was very kind of like Viking-esque, that time period, and it was really good. And I love the characters, and I would really recommend it if you have not read it. It's so good. Basically, there's this curse that's put on these clans that no girl children are being born, and then there is a girl child, and there's a whole story to how she comes to be. But again, it's really good, and I definitely recommend checking it out. I gave it 5 out of 5, and I know technically I already read it, but I put it in this haul video just because I did in a way purchase it through Amazon. But again, recommend it. It's so good. I really, really liked it. And so the next 4 books, I believe, yes, 4 books are ones that I got at my local thrift store. So here we'll go through these quick. And you'll see again that there's a good amount of historical fiction because that is my favorite. Always, I think, have my heart. But this first one is The Boy Who Followed His Father into Auschwitz. And yeah, it's a true story of family survival. And it's basically about, from what I read on the inside, it's just there's this Jewish man, he's an upholsterer, if I'm saying that correctly, and he gets goes to a concentration camp, and then his son joins him, and then he gets sent to Auschwitz, and his son is like, nope, I'm going with you, I'm not leaving you alone to be there. And so that's kind of their story. And just, yeah, and I'm really excited to, it's hard because these books are really hard for me, but there's something, you know, I don't know if you are an avid history reader, it's not an easy like read, like, wow, this is so happy, but there's just something about the humanity aspect. I don't know, I just love historical books, and I just love that. So I'm excited to read this one, and it looks like it had good reviews. And again, I picked this up for, I think they were $1, all these books, because I paid $4 for 4 books, so $1 for each of these books, which was a great price. So this is one of my first history purchases. The next one, again, this is also World War II, is The Dutch Wife. And this one, it says the reason I got this also is because it said, if you are a fan of The Nightingale, which I love that book also by Chris and Hannah, I was like, yes, because that's one of my favorite books. I was like, I'm gonna give this one a try. I've never heard of this, but basically it says that she was an inmate in the concentration camps, and so there's this like love story going on. And yeah, so I'm kind of like, I'm intrigued by this. And again, because it's World War II, I'm really excited to give it a try. So it's basically about a woman that it says that her and her husband, they're arrested and they're deported to different camps. So they're separated, but I think they're trying to obviously get back together, and, you know, we'll see what happens there, but I'm excited for that one. Then this next one, because I also have really gotten into kind of mysteries. I recently read my first ever Agatha Christie, and I really liked it. I borrowed it from the library, so I'm really on this kick to just, I've always liked mysteries, but I think I haven't really gotten into it too much, so I'm excited. And I'm also a big fan of Sherlock Holmes, anything Sherlock. And I found this one, I've never heard of this one either. Again, it's called Dreaming Spies. And this says that it's Mary Russell and Sherlock Holmes, so it's a novel with the two of them. And basically, I think this one, if I remember correctly, yeah, they're on board a steamer, they're going for a holiday in Japan, and then of course, then like a woman disappears and something's going on, there's a mystery, and so they're like figuring it out, you know. So I'm excited because again, this is kind of like got that history aspect. It's from 1924 is kind of the time that it's set in, and anything Sherlock I'm also kind of a fan of. So I'm excited to give this one a try. And again, with any of these, if you have read them, comment down below like what your thoughts on them, but we'll see what happens. All right, this next one, that the last one that I got from the thrift store was called The Taker, and this is one I want you guys to see back because I have, it oddly looked familiar to me, the cover, but I didn't know what it was. But it seemed interesting because again, I've kind of been a little bit braver into like the fantasy genre. And this one, it says it's part of the Taker trilogy. So if you have read any of these, maybe I'm super far behind the years, I don't know. But if you have read these, let me know your thoughts. But it kind of sounded interesting to me because there's this, again, it's kind of like that historical aspect, because I feel like whenever it's kind of like that, like years ago history aspect thing to it, that seems to intrigue me more than always modern fantasy kind of situations. And so there's this mysterious woman, and supposedly she's a murder suspect, but it says here that this man Lanny is like drawn to her, and there's this story that she tells him about love, and she was separated from like the man that she loved, and so from the back of the book. So I'm really excited. Again, I was just intrigued. I think also I kind of like the cover. But I was intrigued because it seemed like a combination of a little bit of like fantasy, but then also like that romance and history. So I'm excited to see what this was. Again, let me know down below if you have read this. And then the last few books that I purchased are all from Half Price Books. And so I have obviously like a list, of course, as we probably all do if you're a reader, of the books that I wanted. But I didn't get all of them. I just got a few because I was like, control myself, Tanya. Can't spend all my money on books, but I got a few that I'm excited about, and one that I'm already like into, which again is, one of them is like very, very wild for me because it's not my typical genre at all. But like I said, we're branching out. So let's start with this one. This is, like I said, I've been into Agatha Christie. I really want to get through all her books because like I said, I recently read one of her short stories compilations and I really liked it. So this one is The Elephants Can Remember. You can see it's like an older copies. I think it's from the 60s, no, 70s, an older copy. And so it was like the only one they had at my thrift store, but I was like, or at the bookstore, but I was like, I'll take it. But this one has two of her characters, which is the Hercule Poirot, which I want to read that series with him, but also Mrs. I can never say Ariadne, Mrs. Oliver. And so it's the two of them, I guess, together. And there's a shocking crime that happened a while ago, and now it's destroying a young girl's happiness. So the intrigue, suspenseful storytelling. So I'm excited to give this one a go. And I like it because, I mean, it's a pretty short read. It's not like too crazy long. So that's my first one. The next one is that I got is Britt Marie Was Here, and it is by Frederick Bachman. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. And I got this one because I feel like with this author, I read A Man Called Ove and I really liked it, and I'm also in the middle of reading, what is it, Ordinary People or Awkward People, I can't remember, and I'm really liking it. And I feel like with this author, I've heard back and forth, like, you either really like him or you're like, nah. And I happen to be those people that I do really like his books, and so this one has been on my list to read, and I'm just really excited. So this one is, and if I remember correctly, this character Britt Marie is from another one of his books, which I also read, and I think this is her story. She's very, like, almost like, I would say, like OCD, like she's very exact about how she wants things. It has to be done this way, a certain specific way, and so it's just kind of like about her life and like more about her. And I don't know, I like how he writes his books. I feel like the characters are not normally what I would like. I don't know, like, it's weird how he does his storytelling. He's just a good author in my opinion, and I really end up really kind of thinking and just, I don't know, wanting to get to know all his characters. Like, it's really good. So yeah, so that's just, again, I don't know too much about it, but I'm excited to have one of his books. The next one that I got is, kind of totally different from that. As you can see, I have like a mishmash of everything, but this is the first book in When Calls the Heart series. I do enjoy also my share of Christian fiction books as well, and I've never read any Janet Oakey, oh, I can never say it, Oak or Oakey, I can never know. Anyway, her books, and my mom has read a lot of them, and I've seen, you know, like some of the shows. I started watching When Calls the Heart, but I never got to finish, and I kind of want to read the books because me and my mom are going to try to watch the show again. And so I was like, well, I'll read the book and see if, you know, I like it or not. So, and if you have read this series, let me know. But yeah, I'm excited to try it out. But basically, this one is when the school teacher, she goes out west, and she's kind of, you know, it's kind of like a Western situation. And again, it's historical, you know, but she goes out west, and she's gonna be a teacher there and kind of go and, you know, start life there and see what happens. And I think, of course, there's like a romance and love and, you know, just fun situations. So I'm excited to read this and see. Alright, this next one I picked up is a Kristen Hanna book. I'm also on a quest really to get all her books because she's also one of those authors that I've realized I can't think of one thing that I read from her that I did not like. Like, she's definitely my kind of author. I really love that her books are so epic, and again, they span like generations usually, and I love that it's like she's got a good amount of history, but yet they're focused on so many different things. Like, I have really loved a lot of her other books, and so this is the one they had at my store. This one is the sequel, if I'm understanding correctly, to Firefly Lane, which I read that book years ago, and I feel like I kind of want to reread it because I know the show is out on Netflix, and I'm like trying to watch it, and I was like, I don't know if that's, you know, I'm like, wait, what was that in the book? Anyway, I know I love the book, so, but anyway, this is supposed to be the sequel to it, which I have not read, so I'm really excited to get into her books because, again, her books really hook me, and I love them. I go through them pretty quickly, so excited to have her book. If you guys also, I'd recommend, if you have not read Winter Garden by her, or really anything, but of course Nightingale, so good. Seriously, I really like her books. Okay, and this last one, this is the one where it's like, whoa, Tanya, like that's pretty wild for you. This is Crescent City. Okay. Here I am, like, I read historical fiction and blah, blah, blah. And then I have like this. I don't know, I just felt brave and wild and I was like, I'm gonna do it. Because like I said, when I read the first Girl Child is kind of a fantasy, it's kind of like stepping into it, I was like, I'll give this a go. This is definitely more of like a modern, but like futuristic, and it's not my typical go-to, but I'm really liking it. It is a beast of a book. It's definitely not my typical kind of book, and it took me, like as you can see, I'm about halfway through. I am liking it. It's very different for me, but I do like, I think I'm kind of understanding why people like with fantasy, because like you just can see, you know, the whole world and the image like in your head when you're reading, which is really cool. I'm really enjoying it, but sometimes it is a little bit different being someone who has not read a lot of fantasy, like wait, what's happening? What world is this? Like what magical spell is it? Like, you know, like it's just so different for me. But I'm really liking it, and I know Sarah J. Maas, like I'm learning that she has like a lot of other books and a lot of other series. I know, guys, I'm like late to the game with a lot of things, but so I'm thinking maybe I'll try some of her other books, but I am liking this one so far. If you have read it, let me know your thoughts, because I think there is a second book as well, so let me know what you think. But that is everything. So I hope you guys enjoy seeing a little bit of some of the newer books that I picked up, and I'd love to hear down below what you are currently reading and maybe purchasing, because I'd love to obviously add more to my TBR list and get some more books in the future, and hopefully do another one of these reading haul books. And if you guys would like to see more reading or book content, definitely let me know. I haven't done too much of it on my channel, but I would love to if people are interested. I'll see you guys in my next video, and thank you so much for watching, and I hope you are all doing so well. Bye everyone.